Hi everyone, I'm Sanya, and today we're going to be going over question 3 on worksheet 5, which covers tree recursion. So basically the question is asking us if Gabe's Donut Shop has an unlimited supply of F different flavors of donuts, and Adit wants to buy a box of D donuts, how many ways are there for Adit to select his D donuts from the F flavors? And when it says unlimited supply of F different flavors, they mean that there's an unlimited supply of every type of flavor, not the number of total flavors. Okay, so first, let's think about kind of the structure of what we're going to be making. And I can immediately think that it's going to be some sort of tree recursion because we have multiple choices. And let's go into what the multiple choices are. So given the flavor we are at, there are two choices. We can either, one, pick a donut of that flavor, or we can not pick a donut of that flavor. So those are the two choices that we can make at every single flavor. And let's kind of go into an example. So here, F equals 3, and then let's say we're trying to fill up a donut box of 3 as well. So if Adit is here, he can either pick a donut or not. Let's go through the first option. If he does pick a donut, then the total number of donuts he needs to now pick to fill up his box decrements by 1. So D will equal 2 at in the next iteration. And the number of flavors stays the same because he remains at flavor 1. However, if he decided not to pick a donut at flavor 1, I'm going to write this option in the lighter blue, then he would move on to flavor 2 without having picked a donut, which would mean that the number of donuts he needs in order to complete his box still remains at 3, but the number of flavors he now can pick from has decremented to 2. So we can see here that we are making our parameter smaller. We are always decrementing F and D by 1 with every step. With this in mind, let's try to go through the skeleton code. So we can see, and we can kind of start thinking about what our base cases might be. We know that we're decrementing on D and F, so that must be included in our base cases. And if we're out of donuts, out of donuts that we still need to pick, which would mean that if D equals 0, then we have successfully picked D donuts from F flavors. Our box is full, we don't want any more donuts. So return 1, because we want to count this way as a way that Adit could select D donuts from F flavors. Now, if we move on from that, and if F is now 0, this means that we have no more flavors of donuts to pick from, but we may or may not have more donuts. Actually, here we will have more donuts because we've already checked that D does not equal 0. So here, F is 0 while D is not 0, which means we have not successfully picked D donuts from the F flavors, so we return a 0. We do not want to count this as a way that Adit can pick D donuts. And then in the recursive statement, we know that we're going to be calling donut. And we know we have two choices that we talked about earlier. So we're going to be calling donut twice. And in the first case, we are decrementing, we are picking a donut, which means we are decrementing the total number of donuts we're going to need next time. So D decrements by 1, while F stays the same. We haven't moved on from our flavor. And then the other option was not picking a donut, which means D does not change, but moving on from that flavor. we now have less flavors to pick from. And then how do we combine these different recursive calls? We're trying to find the total number of ways that we can successfully pick D donuts. Since we're looking for a total, we want to add what is returned from each of these separate recursive calls. And then that sums it up for this function, but I wanted to give you guys a few questions and kind of where I start approaching recursive functions. So I'd like to think about what are our base cases and how are we making our problem smaller and what is the choice we are making. And let's go over all of these questions for this problem. So our base cases are when we're out of flavors or when we're out of donuts, which would mean that either when D equals 0 or when F equals 0. And then how are we making our problem smaller? We are decrementing D or F with every step. And then what is the choice we are making? That was this part where we are either picking a donut or not picking a donut. Okay, thank you guys for listening. I hope that was helpful.